Hey everybody, welcome to another Mix Tank Live. My name is Mark Abrams and I'm here every Monday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're joining us for the first time, Mix Tank Live is where I go through a bunch of submissions to Mix Tank, our online sort of think tank for mixing engineers where they can submit their mixes and get feedback from the community. Today I'll be reviewing mixes, as I mentioned, and for these streams, I always like to start off by trying to give a little piece of practice or a thought I had during the week, or mention a song that I dig a lot. Before we get rolling, I have obviously a little bit of a cold today, so if you see a little P go up over my face for the Puremix logo, that means I had to, take care of that for a second. So bear with me though, we're still gonna have a lot of fun today. So. To start off, I wanted to talk about Kaleo's No Good today. This track is insane. It was produced by Jakir King, co-engineered by Colton Lee, his assistant, and his other assistant Danny, and mixed by Andrew Sheps. And it's from a couple years ago, but it's so freaking energetic. And with some stuff that we've been talking about on the last couple weeks, I thought this would be a good one to mention today because it's a really good example of a rock track where the vocal is not up front and center like a pop track. I was just talking to somebody else about this yesterday and trying to think of examples to show them for stuff like this. And I was showing them some Foo Fighters stuff, which I've mentioned on the stream before, but this track kind of popped up into my memory and I went and checked it out, and it's another good example. So a couple things that I think are cool for this track. I'm going to put a link into the YouTube chat right now for you guys to check it out. And obviously I can't play it on the stream because of copyright issues, but some things that I thought were worth noting about it are the guitars are super loud on the sides of the mix, whereas the vocal is very, very center. There's a really cool mono delay that's happening behind the vocal. It sounds like some sort of tape delay thing, but it's really muffled and kind of saturated and sits behind the vocal in a really cool way that pops the vocal forward. But as far as those those guitars happen on the sides, they're very mid-range forward and very aggressive, but somehow the track never feels thin because those drums are so freaking huge. They're awesome. But yeah, the vocal kind of sits behind those guitars and the snare, and it's blended into the track. And I think that has a lot to do with the energy that's in this track. This one's amazing if you're having a hard time getting going for the day. If you put this on, I guarantee your BPM is going to rise a couple notches. Your heart rate, I should say, not the BPM of your song, but it's just intense. But speaking of BPM, it does a great job of bending time throughout the entire track. It's constantly pushing and pulling on the beat, and it's incredible what they did with the production of that. So it'll literally slow down at the end of the song. There's at 150, there's a bar of five that comes out of nowhere, and it just feels like you're being suspended in air before the band comes down hard on the one. And it's an incredible track. So I'm not going to beat it to death, but you guys should definitely go check that one out. And I think it's a really great reference for really loud, aggressive guitars that don't make the rest of the song feel good, but one might say, even in something like a mix tank review thing, you might even think that, maybe a comment would be that these guitars are too loud, but it totally nails the aggression of the song and it feels awesome. So this is kind of one of those really good examples where things not being perfectly balanced against each other can be a really artistic expression and enhance the whole emotion of the song. So definitely go check that one out. It's amazing. One of my favorite tracks for sure. So today we're going to be reviewing mixes. So if this is your first time here, this is Mix Tank. Over on the left, you'll see a bunch of cards. These are a bunch of submissions from the users. We've got their song names on here. And then in the center, you'll see a timeline. And if people, this one doesn't have feedback yet, but if people put their feedback, you'll see time-stamped comments similar to something like SoundCloud, where people will kind of say oh man, the vocal sounds really great here, or the guitar sounds awesome here, or cool bar of five here at 150. And then over on the far right, you'll see a little bit about the user, their level, the track status. This one, for example, says advanced mix, and then we've got the name of the song, and then some comments from the user saying, for example, in this one, this looks like it's a second revision on the song, so try to take the advice. Yes, there's a bit of distortion in the vocals. I'm trying to deal with it. I'm haunted by my amateur mistakes. So sometimes people leave notes there about something that they might be struggling with. So if you're a Puremix Pro member, head into Mixtank and try to leave some useful feedback for everybody, or you can post your own mix and get some feedback from the community as well. So before we get started, I have to do a little thing where I'm gonna bring up a draw button that's gonna help me keep things fair for us. Basically, it's gonna help me select all of these mixes at random, and if I can do it at random, then we figured out the most fair way for us to kind of run these things. So I just need to change something on my end real quick that I forgot about before. Sorry about that, everybody. Today's the 15th, so I'm just going to change a date here. All right, and then let me save that. All right, so now if I refresh this guy, I've got a draw a track button. So I'm going to hit the button, and we're going to dive right in. Great to see everybody in the chat, by the way. Good to see you, Marcos. Good to see Isomatic. I got Karen Bassett in there. John A.L. Hawk. Good to see you. Yeah, thanks so much for showing up today, guys. And, of course, all the YouTube stuff. Hit the like button on this stream. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell. And that helps us to keep the show going. So to keep us being able to be here every week. That's really useful. So, yeah, every time you see somebody say that in a YouTube video, it's true. It helps us keep making the content. So I'm going to draw a track. Let's see what we get. And we've got Amazing Miracle version 2 from Daniel Siebert. All right, cool. So this is 7 days ago. I'm just going to make sure I haven't been here yet. Okay, so I have been here. And anytime that I review a track, I'm going to put this little stamp. Mark was here with the YouTube link. So if you submitted a track, you'll see that if I was able to get to it. But since I hit this last week, I'm going to draw another one. Let's see what we get. Okay, number days, also 7 days ago. I have not been here, but I remember this logo. So we're going to take a look and see if I did it last week or not. Here we go.
I know my days are numbered, 26,203. The sand is tumbling, the shadow of the sundial on me. My feet are weary, traveling on this road so long, so far. My head is aching, I can feel the pressure leave a scar. all 26,203.
Now I have to look up how many days 26,303 means. That's interesting. I like the concept of the song. That's really cool. Okay, so yeah, great song. That felt great. What a cool one to start with. So yeah, just a couple things that hit me off the top. I'm hearing a lot of compression going on, specifically on the vocal. That's the first one that jumped out to me, and it's messing with the overall tone of her voice. It's making it there's probably some EQ stuff going on here too, but she feels very bright. I like the clarity of it, but it's a little on the harsh side. I agree with a lot of what Tom Foolery put on there, as I usually do, because Tom's awesome. Um, and I think that there might just be a little bit too much. Tom had a great idea about like relying less on compression, doing more automation. Excuse me. And I think that on that there's also a lot of compression overall on the song. The guitars, especially the acoustic, I noticed toward the end felt on the right felt very compressed, and it was kind of getting choked a bit. So I'd say just kind of watch out for those compression levels overall, and rely more on the faders a little bit, and then you can do other stuff to kind of get the track feeling more aggressive with it. Parallel compression is also a great option for something like the vocal in this case. You can get a more natural sound out of it by just having a duplicate of the track, or you could, do a send at Unity to an aux track, put a compressor on it, smash it pretty well, and then kind of blend it up into the other track. And you'll get a more natural sound with a lot of the same benefits of compression without the choking and stealing of the tone kind of thing. Um, could have used a touch more punch in the kick. I felt when we went into the first chorus, the vocal started getting sucked into the track, which made me think that maybe there was some bus compression going on that was a little intense. So watch out a little bit for that. With the kick drum and the snare, like parallel compression could also be a really good option for both of those, especially because I felt like the kick could benefit from some more punch. So you could do a parallel compressor where you're kind of doing a slower attack, faster release, so you're letting that transient through, but just kind of blending that in there. So it's like over accentuating the transients on the parallel and then blending that in with your natural one to just kind of get a little bit more smack out of them without having to just turn up the kick drum from where it is right now, because we're really just kind of looking for a little more punch, right? So that's one way you can do it. Yeah, I hope that helps. I think, like, again, just rethink your compression on some of those individual elements, and work from there. But yeah, it's sounding great. Really cool song, and happy that we started with that one. That's super cool. Thank you everybody for your kind comments about getting better in the comments section over there. I appreciate that. I'll have to try. There's some really cool home remedies I see in there. One of them involves hot chocolate, so I'm totally gonna have to check that out. I will totally try it. Okay. And glad you're feeling better, Karen. Um, yeah, Karen had a good option there for Soothe on the vocal. Soothe is a really great plugin and can help out with some of that stuff. So let's see what else we got going on here. Um, Mike Conway says guitar on the left could have some body. I bet it was cut to make room, but feels like there's space to let that bloom. So yeah, that's a good option. And make sure you guys check out the YouTube comments. They're in the video because I have the chat up in there too, but there's very useful stuff coming in there. So this is a community team sport. All right, let's draw another track. Confetti. Hold on. All right, so this is Amazing Miracle, Daniel Siebert. We just saw this one pop up, so I'm going to go for another one. Lucky number, Bryce Drew. Okay, I don't think I hit this one last week. So this song is from the Greg Wells Start to Finish series on Puremix.net. And that series is incredible. You get to watch Bryce, the singer, and Greg Wells, who's incredible producer. Definitely look him up if you don't know him. You get to watch them write the song in a room together, all the way to producing it, and then mixing it at Sunset. All takes place at Sunset Sound, except for the very end. After they have the mix, they go to Brian Lucy's Magic Garden Mastering and master the song, all of it on camera, literally from the moment of inception all the way to the final master. So super cool series, and you can jump around if you're only interested in parts of that, but the songwriting section of that is unique on Pure Mix and a very cool thing. So All right, enough of my yapping. Let's listen.
House numbers, zip codes, birthdays, and airplane roads. I can never pass them by. I rearrange them, add them up, multiply till I find luck. Anything to call it a sign. And maybe I'm out of my mind. I see my lucky number everywhere I go, and I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. Swear it follows me down every road. Always shows up just when I need to know that I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be. New city, no doubts. 2 weeks to get off my friend's couch. Cutting it close, but I'll be fine. I think I found my dream apartment with all I ever wanted. Turned out it could have been a closet. Feels like nothing's going right. But the second I look at the time, I see my lucky number everywhere I go, and I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. Swear it follows me down every road. Always shows up just when I need to know that I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be. Baby, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I've got some. I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I'm not looking. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I see my lucky number. I see my lucky number. I see 19. I see my lucky number everywhere I go, and I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. Swear it follows me down every road. Always shows up just when I need to know that I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Nice one. Ido Cooperis is the submitter on this one. Very good job. I love this song. I was fortunate enough to be there on that shoot, and it was incredible to watch. But the song never gets old to me. It reminds me of some really really good stuff in like the mid '90s. But anyway, so some thoughts on it. I think you did a great job. The mix of it feels to me like it kind of feels like you've got your sounds happening, and at this point, I would be looking into the arrangement stuff and maybe even some more of the balance stuff. But I'll just tell you some things that jumped out to me from the start that I would look at. And the first one is the brightness overall of the track, specifically starting with the vocal. It feels like it's got a whole lot of top shine to me, but in a almost an artificial way, like it's being added with like that same sound that you get from like an Aphex oral exciter when you kind of blend that on top, or Sugar from Process Audio, which all of Puremix Pro members have. When you blend in a little bit too much on top of that, it can start to feel like it's got I don't want to say glass in a bad way, but like it's got some glass or ice on the top of it. So it feels really cool, but I feel like it could come back maybe just a hair to make it feel a little bit more natural and connect the top end to the rest of the tone of the vocal, maybe to the body of it more. And then I felt like some of that same stuff was kind of mix wide for me. And it felt like whatever's adding it in was almost a little out of phase. Like it was like a parallel EQ or something like that. So maybe just take a look at how you're getting the brightness from the vocal and make sure that you totally dig how it's coming in and all that. Sorry, I'm a little away from my microphone. Yeah, so the next thing I would say is this is where I think it gets into arrangement stuff. There's tons of little moments that happen in the song that where the melodic or harmonic focus is jumping from one instrument to the other. Like the piano at the end kind of starts popping out and playing a really cool melody that could come forward, and it's meant to kind of take over from, excuse me, some of the acoustic stuff and all that. The other thing was maybe getting a little bit more contrast going from verses to choruses, for example. So things like having the room mics on the drums come up more in the chorus, but be more recessed during the verse. So we go like from kind of a tight sound to a bigger open sound in the chorus. Maybe even like further panning out the acoustic guitars, or changing the vocal treatment. A lot of times in a chorus, to go from like a smaller feeling verse to a bigger feeling chorus, I'll do something like add, like an H910 or micro shift in a very subtle way, not like overdoing it and causing phase problems with the vocal, but like bringing that up to just kind of taking the vocal and making it bloom a little bit more and give it a little more size width wise. I also feel like the BGVs could be a little bit bigger too, and we could accentuate more of that arrangement that happened there because I thought that was really cool. Other than that, there were some mouth noise things. I'm a big stickler for eliminating lip smacks and mouth noises and all that stuff. So at 2:30, there's a good example of this in the bridge. I'm just going to play this because it's something important that I want to make a moment out of. So here we go.
I see my lucky number. I see
So especially in the first couple lines.
my lucky number. I see my lucky number.
So her microphone's open, but then even as she's singing the next "I See My Lucky Number," we start hearing some more of that lip smacking stuff going on. Again, Isotope mouth declick is incredible at cleaning this up. I just use it on the default setting 99% of the time, and it cleans all that stuff up. And I have a sensitivity to that stuff. It pulls me out of the track and reminds me that I'm listening to a singer in front of a microphone and all that. So just a really quick way to clean up your vocal. I also heard some of that stuff at the end. So a little bit of cleanup work on aisle 9, and I think it'll be good. But you asked how the overall feel and compression is. I didn't hear anything that felt like it was too crazy there. So, check out Tom's comments for sure. Check out the comments in the chat on this one too. And yeah, let's see. Simon says he would love to hear the singer on an SM7. Yeah, that probably would be pretty awesome, actually. Great. All right. Let's move on to the next song. Here we go. Some great comments in the chat on that one. Okay, drawing a track. Confetti, we got the same one that we got earlier. Oh, I just remembered I forgot to leave my little comment. You guys yell at me if you see me forget. Otherwise, we'll be reviewing the same songs because I have the memory of a fish. Okay. Bouncing in 2020. This looks new. Quasti Quasti. This is from 7 days ago's submission. Jazz. Let me make sure I haven't been here. Let's check it out. Here we go. Very nice. That one's from Quasti Quasti. Great job. Clap, clap, clap. That was awesome. Let's see. I don't really have that much to say about this one actually. The chat. Mike had a good comment in there. He says, there's a clear top and bottom between bass and kick, but I feel like I'm getting the chesty punch out of that combo. Solid groove though. So I the only thing that I really kind of jumped out to me, there were two things. And that was that I would have liked a little bit more sub on the kick just to make it connect with the bass a little bit more. So I wanted the kick to kind of lead the sub range, just a hair. But I mean, that's a very tiny comment, which could probably just be skipped and everything would be fine. There was a whole lot of detail in the top of the bass, that I'm not sure if it's necessary because it brings it up to the same presence level of the piano for me. But, again, it's totally fine. And the detail is really cool. Like it's very, very clear and present. So could skip that. And then the biggest thing to me was I felt like the piano felt a bit wide and spread out. That was the only like distracting thing for me. It was just that it's the lead instrument, but it feels kind of diffuse and really, really wide. I'd like to hear it a little bit more in focus, if that makes sense. Like if you imagine, turning the focus lens on your camera, I kind of wanted to hear more focus on the piano. So a couple ways to do that. If you have any artificial widening going on with it, see what happens if you dial that back a little bit or get rid of it. It might still feel cool. I get that it's kind of supposed to be, spacious and everything, and that's totally a sound too. But it just felt a little bit out of focus to me. One other way that you could maybe bring some focus to it is doing a mono parallel compression thing with it, and then kind of blending that up and then panning it where you would kind of want it in the field. So I'm hearing the higher part, the lead section of the piano playing over toward the right a little bit. This is totally a creative thing and it might not work at all. But if you had a mono parallel going on with that and you panned it over to where it would feel natural in the width of the piano track and just kind of brought it up a little bit, that might add a little bit of focus to that part and kind of lock it down in the whole stereo field a little bit. That's totally a guess. I don't know. I would try that if I were mixing the song to see what would happen. Let's see. So, oh yeah. So Mike has some arrangement moments in there that you can see in the comments up here. So check out those. Karen's got some good comments. Yeah, awesome. Creative reduction in the programming. Yep. Yeah, we could do some more moments in it and everything. Yeah, read all these comments up here. They're good. Awesome. All right, let's draw another track and move on. But yeah, overall, I felt like it was really, really great. So, great job. Okay, this is Guardian. I think I was here. Oh, I forgot to put my little tag on there. You guys need to yell at me. Okay. Okay, there we go. I'm going to draw a track again. I seem to only be getting stuff from 7 days ago. And this one I've gotten twice. We were just here. Oh, nice. All right, let's see. Okay, this expires in 3 hours. Drama de Amar. I'm going to keep going because that expires in 3 hours and I'm worried he won't see my comments anyway. Whoever that was, if you want me to take a listen to it, mark at puremix.net. Send me an email and I'll check it out. I'm just worried if I take the time to do it on the show right now, you won't see it. Okay, so this is only doing 7 days ago. So let's do this. I don't think our draw a track button is doing what we want. So I'm going to go to the newest tracks. I'm going to refresh here. Let's just try the draw a track thing one more time. Yeah, we just saw that one. All right, this guy's broken. I'm going to refresh again. And let's sort by newest. And okay, so we've got some of the newest stuff. And okay, I apologize, guys. It looks like our randomized feature isn't working today, so we're going to have to go off script a little bit. So let's do this. If you guys are in the chat and you have a track on here, go ahead and put it in the chat, and I'm going to try to get to everybody that's here today. I'm very sorry that I can't randomize it, but that button's not working, and we're going to be looking at stuff from a week ago. Okay, Tortilla Man called the last one porno music. Be careful, because there's a bot that shows up here every week, and it tries to get us all girlfriends. So if you say stuff like that in the chat, the bot's going to end up showing up. It's not my bot. Okay, Mike Conway is here, I know that, and I see Mike Con W, so I'm going to just take an educated guess and say that you're here. So let's hit the tracks that are here today. One says, the application has not let me enter with my mix in the takeover. I tried 1,000 times and it was mission impossible. That's not great. Juan, can you get your track in there at all? Let me know. And yeah, sorry, we're gonna have to do this ourselves today, guys. So Juan, try to get your track in there if you get it in there at all. Maybe skip the takeover thing. Just know that if you tell me in the chat that it's okay to listen to your mix, we'll call that like hitting the tick box for the takeover thing. The reason we have you do that is so you're like kind of signing off that it's okay we play the music on YouTube. So if you're telling me that in the chat, we'll just call it good. Okay, so I'm going to start with Mike, and then if for some reason I miss your song, yell at me in the chat. I think we're going to be able to get to everybody in there, so let's just try and go for it. And here we go, starting with Mike Conway. Here we go.
She won't. There's some things she'll do, and then there's things she won't. You'd better back up.
Okay, first off, this groove is awesome. I have one thought that I want to say now before I forget it. That lead guitar, I think, is rushing the drum groove just a hair, and it's almost like the most badass groove ever. Check out the placement of the guitar and see if just like lightly shifting some things around will help. I'm not talking about slicing up every note. Just like find a bar that feels like maybe it's rushing a little bit and just nudge it back like samples, until it starts feeling like it's locking in a little bit more. Watch for the transient on the guitar, because there's going to be some very definitive transients in there, and then where the snare transient is lining up. Not saying like make it grid perfect, just saying emphasize the groove, because that's awesome, and that's a big part of this right here. So I wanted to get that out now. Here we go. I'll play that section again. You guys tell me in the chat if you think I'm wrong, if you think it's the drums rushing or something like that, but I think it's the guitar rushing the drums.
Fine. One thing you don't know, she's mine, all mine. She's a grown-up, yeah, she can do just what she wants. There's some things she'll do, and then there's things she won't. You'd better back up before I act up. Oh, you're gonna pay to play. You better back up before I act up. You can't say that you weren't wrong when I put you on the road. Last week this dude rode in looking for some action. He hit on her and she hit back and put that boy in traction. That's right, buddy. My girl's a scrapper too. She won't take no pity on a simple fool like you. You'd better back up before I act up. Oh, you're gonna pay to play. You better back up before I act up. Will you fight I did. Poor, poor, poor. You wouldn't stop, so I blew my top. You wouldn't cool it, so I had to do it. You couldn't stack up, you wouldn't back up. I had to act up, and I jacked you up.
Yeah, Mike, that's sick. I love it. Killer track. Okay, so I got some feedback from the comments here. So Isomatic thinks it's the guitar. And let's see. So Records agreed. And then Sebastian said, not sure if it's the guitar. Check out the bass groove. It sounds like it's not always locking in with the drums and guitar. So, man, it's all like so close though, because you get the idea of the groove, which like normally when these things aren't lining up, it's just like, I don't know what they're doing. It sounds like a blues song, but this one you get that like the groove is supposed to be awesome. So it's almost there. I got reamed by one of my mentors recently about this kind of thing because so I do like a one-on-one therapy thing with John Paterno. It's called Mixed Therapy. It's like his one-on-one coaching thing. But we were going through a song that I had been working on, and it had some timing things in it, and we were starting to work on some mixing things, and I was going to go back and edit later, and but we were like in our session, so I was like, I'll come back to this and I'll edit it later. And he was like, why would you wait? And I was like, well, we're going to talk about mixing stuff. And he's like, is this not mixing? And it really kind of like it kind of clouds parted for me a little bit, because we're making all these decisions with compression. And when you're doing compression, you're doing attack and release time, you're doing groove, you're trying to lock in the balance of things based on how well things are playing together, really. How the the kick bass relationship end up working together, all of that stuff is going to be dependent on if the performances are where they should be or not. And tweaking those things is actually easier when they are all locked in the right way. So I'm not advocating for again, like slicing up each note and locking them all in together. But he had a really good point about that stuff, about how we are messing with groove a lot when we're doing mixes. And he kind of gave me a little bit of a practice exercise, which was like starting the mix off almost with a tracking mindset to it. So outside of sounds, he was like, you need to say that you get a song in that you've never heard before. Now what I do is I'll pop the tracks open without loading any template up or like starting the mix really. I just kind of get a balance, and then I'm just kind of listening for what's happening. And then anything that jumps out to me, like timing wise, like the guitar thing rushing in this case and all that stuff, I'll deal with that right at the start of the mix. And it's almost the first thing that I do. And while I'm kind of doing those things, it's also helping me discover what's inside of the song, or if I produced it myself, it's, getting reacquainted with the song and all that. So, point being, take a look at everything and see if you can lock in those grooves a little bit better, because this song is really all about that, and it feels awesome. All right, enough about that. Other notes I had, the snare feels a little bit loud to me, especially I noticed it starting at around 130. Might have been before that too. I just kind of had the thought around 130. I can maybe use more crack in it, but it kind of depends on what happens with the other stuff in the song. So I did, like, the tone was cool, that it was, a thought that maybe it would be more crack, but I also think it's just kind of poking out and sitting in front of everybody, but not in the way of, say, the Kaleo example from the beginning of the stream that I said. It feels like it's almost jumping out of the song or out of the speakers sometimes, and then also just a little bit too much presence on it. The guitars felt like they could be maybe panned out a little bit wider, and that would make some room up the middle for the vocal. I think that part of why the snare might be so loud is you were listening to the guitar and then trying to place it in there. If the guitar comes out a little bit, it's inherently going to be more separated. That might inform you about the snare. It's, creative decision, so do with that what you will. But I think making some room up the center for the vocal and some of the other important elements will be pretty cool. And then you mentioned in the comments, yes, there's a bit of distortion in the vocal. I'm trying to deal with it. I'm haunted by my amateur mistakes. LOL. Nothing to be haunted by. I actually think that vocal distortion would be awesome in this, Mike. So what if you leaned into that? And instead of like amateur mistake, you're like amateur stumbled onto something awesome. So if you have like a 1073 style plugin You can crank up the gain on that, bring the fader down. That's a really cool saturation sound. The UA 610, same idea. Crank the input, bring down the output. Great distortion sound. Decapitator is really good for this. But I would actually play with that and see what happens if you lean into like the distorted vocal idea. Other than that, the harmonica solo felt a little low on the entrance of it. Like it wasn't commanding authority when it came in. So maybe just check that out. But great track. I love it, Mike. That's awesome. Very cool. So yeah, and great comments coming in as well. So again, check the comments out up here. Great harp solo, says Circle the Wagons. Totally agree. Yeah, super cool song. Yeah, man, great song. I really enjoyed that one. And great comments. Cool. Let's go to the next one. Here we go. So I'm not going to draw. Instead, I'm going to scroll up in the chat a little bit and see who else said that they're here. We'll just go from in order of who said they were here. Let's see. So we got Mike. If you guys are in the chat and you haven't put a song in yet, since we're doing it this way with the people who are here in the chat room, go over to Mixtank and submit a song and then drop it in the chat. Let me know. Carl Gibson says Dark Rose's revision is up. All right, so I'm going to go get it. Juan, I hope you got that mix submitted. Let me know if not. 6TSE got one in there. So let's go with Juan real quick. We're going to look for Dark Roses. Carl Gibson, we got it. All right. And then real quick, I realized I forgot to answer Primetime. So Primetime asked a minute ago, we have a new video at Fab DuPont mixing Mr. Emotional's This Is How I Feel Inside. And he asked why there's 2 folders in the download. I believe that the reason for that is there's a dry vocal stem and a wet vocal stem. I might be wrong, but that's what my memory is telling me. All right. So here we go. Dark Roses, Carl Gibson. Thanks for being here, Carl. Let's check it out. Carl, I remember this from last week. I'm pumped. Here we go.
I found you on the other side of town. We were running, but we never touched the ground. And I just can't seem to find the words to say. I can feel you, but there's nothing in the way. Something isn't right here, can't you see? You love me, but you're asking me to leave. I would stand by you through all the thick and thin. All I'm asking you is to just let me
Guys, watch this. What do you call a blind dinosaur? Do you think he saw us? I'm struggling to think of other dad jokes, but there we go. And this is great because I might have to like save this, and then I've always got my joke John Phil. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Very cool, man. Carl, this song is freaking great. Yeah, couple things that are pointing out to me or sticking out to me, but let's see how everybody's doing in the chat here. Yeah, nice freaking song. You can just revise this one forever and just keep submitting it because I'm like happy to listen to this every week. It's super cool. Okay, the kick in the intro. Let's take a listen to it. Okay, so I'm listening to it in relationship to the rest of the elements in the mix, and it's telling me that it's the most important thing that's happening. It's there to provide the beat because we've got this syncopated, guitar part. There's some space in it and all that, so we're trying to give the listener like the pulse of the song and everything. Totally cool, but it's very, very forward, and it's telling me that it's more important than the organ, more important than the guitar, and all of that. It's a great sounding kick, but no kick drum is more important than the melody, right? So in this section, I'm wondering, like, would it be cool if that kick drum came back and had more of a room sound to it? Not so that it gets lost in the track. And watch, like last week, I probably said something like, bring the kick drum forward, make it more important than the organ. I don't think I said that, but anyway, yeah, I wonder if it kind of went back and had a little bit more, space around it, and it's just kind of there to like, here's the pulse of the song, but man, listen to that guitar, because that's like the spoiler alert, right? Like that thing's telling us exactly what's going to happen with all those other sections in the song, and so on and so forth. I thought that Sonic Science Lab's comments were spot on here too. But let's see what else I got. So yeah, first thing about just the kick and the balance and all that. It's a great sounding kick, but just priority on it. The next thing, the biggest issue that I have with this entire mix is that the vocal is loud and it's pokey and a little harsh. So that 2 to 5K range, it's just got some squelching going on in it that comes out and it just jabs your ear a bit. There's a couple different ways to kind of deal with that. There's, I don't know if I said this on the last one. I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but dynamic EQ, overall EQ. Another one that I kind of stumbled upon recently was, instead of like messing with soothe and dynamic EQ and all that stuff, what happens if you just bring up the body of the vocal? Maybe like too much low is getting cut out of it, and it's just become unbalanced to where that range is the most prominent thing in the overall shape of that vocal. So I think that the vocal tone needs some work, specifically in that 2 to 5K range, but I think that we naturally go to things like soothe, to de-essers, to dynamic EQs, and we just start cutting frequencies and all that, and then the vocal doesn't sound natural. So what happens if you bring up some other ranges of the vocal? It might not work, but sometimes it's a way to like keep things sounding natural and just worrying about the balance instead of like, oh, this one thing is poking out, so I'm gonna just start like Swiss cheesing it. If all of that fails, sometimes soothe is cool for that. I will also do a sidechain compressor with the sidechain will be a copy of the vocal, but it'll be a very narrow shape of the vocal. So it'd just be like that 2 to 5K stuff would be the sidechain of the compressor. And then when that stuff starts, getting aggressive, the vocal will start compressing. You have to be careful with that. It takes a lot of like dialing in to make it feel natural, but that's a way that I've dealt with some of that stuff. For example, like FabFilter's Pro C2, and I think any of the Arturia compressors have very dialable side chains with that kind of stuff. And if you, narrow it in and just say like, hey, when this stuff gets out of hand, maybe start compressing there. Alternatively, soothe. But first, before you go to any of the fun tricks, just see if you can balance it out, bring in some more low end and body of the vocal and see if it helps out at all. And then just overall, man, the vocal's so important. And like, I hesitate to say this, but actually not a lot, because I do think it's too loud, but you could bring it back a bit. But it is so important. Okay, the solo at 223. was poking out to me in a little bit of a painful way, and it feels diffuse. So again, like it's just out of focus. So I want to like turn the focus on the camera lens and just bring it into focus. It feels like it's got some artificial widening on it, some tricks there. So yeah, maybe check that out and see if you can make it a little bit less painful. And then at 250, I love this part of the song, and I love all of these moments that happen in the song. But on these rests, I'm going to play this again.
These dark roses, I don't want you to go. But these dark roses, I can't let you know. But these dark.
So maybe you've done a little bit of this, but I was thinking with automation stuff, you could push the downbeats, like after the rest, push the beat that's coming back in, that accent. It doesn't, I'm not saying like jack it up to 560 dB or whatever, but if you got faders in front of you, if you have a control surface, just ride those faders and then just, give them a slight push to add a little bit of human touch into there. But the band would naturally be excited and hit those a little bit harder. So I would, just see if you can add a little bit of life into that. And, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But sometimes that kind of stuff can be cool. You don't want to overdo it because then it just becomes obvious that you're pushing faders. But cool. I really hope that is useful to you, Carl. And I love this song again. So happy to listen to it again. That was fun. Great. And let me draw my comment here. And then I'm going to look for who else has a song in there. Let's see. Okay, so all right, I'm scrolling down here. We just did Carl. Okay, so SXT is not named yet. We should be able to find that. And here we go. We got it. All Audio Productions. And this is from, in the chat, this is from SXT. So here we go, SX. Let's check it out.
Ich leb schon lange nur kopfüber in den Tag rein. Die Lichtreklame ist mein Sonnenlicht. Zigaretten raucht der Morgendunst am Abend und Sonnenauf statt Untergang in deinem Gesicht. Ich mag die Welt viel lieber auf statt Untergehen sehen. Ich schmeck die Zeit intensiver in deinen Atem gedreht und wir dann morgens erst nach Hause gehen. Stumme Worte tanzen Kreise zwischen Zeilen auf, doch der Hauch auf meinem Bauch ist wie ein Rausch. Verlier den Zeiger vor der Tür und lass mich fallen, ja, verlier die Zeit, verlier den Raum. Spürst du das Frei-Sein, fällst du jetzt auch? Ich mag die Welt viel lieber auf statt Untergehen sehen. Ich schmeck die Zeit intensiver in deinen Atem gedreht und wir dann morgens erst nach Hause gehen. Und dann träumen wir es einfach weiter, fallen von Realität in das Wunderbar. Der Moment wird immer leichter, sind noch hier bei dir. Denn dann träumen wir es einfach weiter, fallen von Realität in das Wunderbar. Der Moment wird immer leichter, sind noch hier bei dir, mit mir. Ich mag die Welt leichter, sind noch hier bei dir, mit mir. Ich mag die Welt viel lieber.
Somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've heard any pitch problems in the guitar or anything before this.
Gedreht und wir dann morgens erst nach Hause gehen. Und dann träumen wir es bei
Okay, awesome. So I'm just gonna one, I think it sounds great, and this is a really cool piece. I love the performance of it. I love the guitar part, and this is all really beautiful. Um, the thing that stopped me in my tracks here at 2 minutes is the rest of the song doesn't have any sort of pitch problems, and I'm assuming that this is intentional. But let's just listen one more time because it almost sounds like somebody like turned a tuning peg on you. So maybe you just have some really bad friends in the studio that are playing pranks. But let's check it out real quick.
Bei dir mit mir. Ich mag die Welt viel lieber auf Stadt untergehen sehen. Ich schmeck die Zeit intensiver. In deinen Atem gedreht, können wir uns morgen Abend wiedersehen.
Yeah, so I don't know what's happening there, but it seemed distracting to me. I love the idea of things going kind of funky on the tuning, but the vocals there too. So I don't know. I'm just gonna say I noticed it, and that's up for you to decide if that's great or not. Okay, sorry. I hope that that's useful in some way. So the next thing, and the very first thing that jumped out to me was the vocal tone and the consonants and the mouth noises on this one. So you say in your comments, I'd love to hear what you guys think about the relation between the guitar and the vocal. Other than that, I had some struggle to find an overall tonal balance. Let me know what you think. Thanks. I love the tonal balance that you have going on with the guitar. And I think that the vocal is almost there too. It feels just a little bit more present or bright than is necessary for this because I really like the dark tone of it. And I don't remember like what week it was, but one of the like starting out thoughts that I had for the live stream, I always, if you're tuning in later, I always start these out with like a thought and usually like a song suggestion to check some things out in a mix that, you know, is kind of well known. But one week I was talking about the difference between a bright mix and a dark mix, and I was comparing Billie Eilish Bad Guy versus Ariana Grande Break Up with Your Girlfriend. And, um, you know, Billie Eilish is a very dark mix. Ariana Grande is a very bright mix. It sounds rich. It sounds like it has diamonds on it and it's all sparkly and everything versus the dark, grimy texture of the Billie Eilish thing. So on this one, I feel like the tone that you have going on with the guitar, while it's not overly detailed, Sonic says pay attention to the boxiness in the guitars here. I don't really feel like it's boxy. I just feel like it's got like a dark tone to it. And I kind of want to hear that for the vocal too. And I kind of like that was the mood I was getting from the song overall. So that was my thought with it was like, what if you committed to that with the vocal as well? And it kind of got a dark texture to it. So that was the first thought I had. And that might change some of the sibilant stuff that's going on too. Like it might not stick out as much if there's not as much high detail on the vocal. But I can't say to really watch out for that because of the language. So it's in German, and those sounds are part of the language, and it's all very important. I would guess that you would not want to remove a bunch of the clicking and everything. I saw a comment. Karen said, "I wonder what he's going to say about that." And that's basically it's great observation, Karen, because I think if you take out all the mouth clicking, you're going to be doing the wrong thing for the language. I could be wrong about that. All audio productions, you're going to know that better than I will, obviously, and that's why it's probably the way that it is. So, um, Karen had a good suggestion though about maybe going back a little bit from the microphone. That might make it sound a little bit more natural, but it's recorded. We're here, and I think it sounds totally cool. If you take some of the brightness out of the vocal, I think it might solve some of that too. I hope that that's useful. I really don't have much for you other than like, if the pitch thing is intentional and you're, if that's intentional, that's super cool. I wonder if you need to do something to make sure that we know it's intentional there. But other than that, I really like the track, and I think you did a great job on it. So let me drop my comment in here. Although you know I was here because you're here. Which thanks again for being here. Let's see. So Sebastian says it would make a nice thriller series soundtrack for Netflix. I totally agree. You should get it on a Netflix thing. Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Okay. There's a lot of really good comments up here. Check them out. All right. So we got his in there. Let's go down a little bit. Let's see who else has some stuff in here. Karen. But okay. I should have saved that URL so I could go back and do that again right now. All right. Looking for anybody else who's here that has songs on Mixtank. So if you're here and you have a song up there that we haven't hit yet, even if you already put it in the chat, yell at me and let me know. Sebastian says he's got a mix of My Name is Human. So let's go check it out. This is a Highly Suspect song. And I mean that there's the artist's name is Highly Suspect. So I don't think we're going to get taken down. But I don't know. YouTube, if you're watching and it's not a robot, which of course it's a robot, but we have all the copyright and we have the rights to play this on the stream. But anyway, here we go. This is My Name is Human from S. Gaiader. Here we go.
But I'm ready for more. I know that nobody's ever been this fucking ready before. Hey. Do you need some time to think it over? So figure it out or don't figure it out. I figured it out. The bigger the river, the bigger the drought. Get up on your knees, boy. Stand face to face with your God. Find out what you are. Hello, my name is human. And I came down from the stars. Hello, my name is human. I'm not asking questions, 'cause questions have answers, and I don't want answers, so I'll take my chances. What are the chances that I could advance on my own circumstances? So you keep your answers. I'm not asking questions, 'cause questions have answers. I'll take my chances. I'm up on my knees, girl. I'm face to face with myself. And I know who I am. My name is human. And I stole the power from the sun. I am more than just a I came down from the stars. Hello, my name is human, and I know who
It's a great freaking song. Yeah, the name of the band is Highly Suspect. This one, if anybody wants to try it out, there's a video. It's Joel Hamilton mixing this song. It's Highly Suspect. Hello, my name is Human. And yeah, we have a mixing video of it. There was a mixing contest for it. There's a live stream out there on YouTube with Joel, giving his breakdown of the winners and everything like that. That was a super cool time. I think we did that in 2020, I want to say. But yeah, Joel is amazing. Huge fan of his, and follow him on Instagram because his stories are like the funniest thing you'll see all day. Usually, he's got great meme taste. So yeah, let's talk about this one a little bit. I want to listen to just a little bit of the beginning real quick. Here we go. Okay, so I guess the first thing I'll talk about is the vocal. So there's some stuff, especially in I noticed it in the beginning of it, and then later in the track as well, where it sounds like the vocal is super, super compressed, but you've got a slow attack going on with it, and it sounds like the 1176 thing. Kind of like really driving an 1176 like a Bluey or something, but leaving the attack open with a fast release. So I'm hearing like a lot of the very first, transient of the vocal poke through, and it's kind of, coming out and punching me, and then like the vocal gets compressed. So I would say less compression or faster attack until you get that stuff to smooth out. And then again, too, if you're going for the super compressed thing, that 1176 sound, awesome for a track like this. Totally get it. Maybe check out parallel as an option for a natural thing, or just play around with how much of it you're doing and the attack time of the compressor. Because right now it just feels a little bit slow and it's missing the initial like guttural sound of the lyric that's kind of jumping out. And then because of that, I'm wondering if you've got a little too much 2K to 5K going on where it's like it's getting pokey. But first I would ease up the compression maybe and see what's going on there. But definitely need to tame the first attacks of it. Oh, sweet, Sebastian, awesome. Thanks for submitting this. That's great. Next thing I had was on his sustained screams. The vocal feels very dry to me. Like we could do some more effect moments. And something like at 2:15, he has a really long sustained note that I'm going to play here. I'm wondering if we could do some kind of vocal throw. Actually, this is a good example of the vocal compression too. Listen to the word I'm. So the I of I'm. It's just those first syllables are kind of like jumping out. So that's the attack time on the compressor thing. And then on his long sustained note, we could, maybe do something, this is all creative territory or whatever, but the vocal feels like it could use a little bit of effects treatment and just have some more moments to me. Same thing with these background vocals that are happening here. Maybe there's something that you could do to make them a little more interesting and like, moments with them, even if it's just like slight little pan things or not like drastic, we're trying to do Atmos helicopters or anything like that, but something to make those moments a little bit more interesting. And then we're going to listen through to the next big guitar moment. Yeah, I apologize. I forget what it is. But the part where the guitars do the big, like, bow, now, 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 leading into the choruses, those are like, that's a huge moment. Make it massive. Those guitars should just, like, come out and wail. And then when the chorus drops, it's going to feel, super cool. They can't come out and wail so much that when the chorus drops, it gets smaller. But I would just make a moment out of that. So overall, I would just say, like, put a little bit of you into it, a little automation, like bringing up some cool moments, look at effects treatments on the vocal, watch out for the slow attack time that's making the compressor feel bitey, and I think overall it's pretty cool, and just capture the essence of the song and keep going. It's great. I hope you do another version of it and we get to hear it. And I hope, more importantly, that any of that is useful. Because, as always, all of this is subject to taste. So, here we go. Let's go to the next song. I'm going to see who else has a song in here. Somebody yell at me in the chat. Let's see who else has a song going on. Salian, how can I get feedback of my track? So, Salian, if you're a Puremix Pro member, go to puremix.net and click on here. I'll show you. Puremix.net. Great site. Go up to Mixtank at the top, and then you can add your track by hitting the Submitted Mix button. and then you'll kind of fill this stuff out, drag your file in there, and then submit it, and it'll be on Mixtank. You have to be a Puremix Pro member, and if you are, you'll be all good. So let's see. You said yes, so please review Lana. Yes, nice, all caps. Thanks, Flandy. All right, Lana. Okay. Lana, I feel like you're making an Archer reference. Or your name's not Lana. Flandy Bob. I feel like that is an Archer reference. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, let me know in the chat. Okay. So Lana 0.30 from Flandy Bob's. He's a passionate guy. And this is the final mix. Tried to work some more on the bass guitar. This one's driving me nuts. I know the feeling. Also tried to create some more room for the vocals in the mids. Cool. Let's check it out. You got it, Juan. Lana! What? That's my Archer reference. Awesome. Okay, I want to check out the beginning of this one more time, and I'm listening to the side stick, so here we go. And I'm just going to jump forward here. So overall, things feel more pleasant to me once we get into the song, and sometimes that can happen just from getting your sounds on a certain section of the song, but the dynamic of the band is totally different in this other section. It doesn't feel right. So in those cases, some extreme automation might be called for. That is a thing where I would go to the beginning section, and a lot of times I'll loop that section over and over again and just keep playing with automation until it feels right. A little trick for doing this is, I don't know what DAW you're in, but most DAWs have a trim mode in their automation. And what trim allows you to do in Pro Tools, if you throw your faders into trim mode, they'll turn gold. And I have a sneeze coming on. I'm fighting it right now. I'm going to try and get through this comment section. So they turn gold and they snap to 0. And then no matter what automation's going on in the background, you have like a relative volume automation over top of the current volume envelope that you've already drawn. So say you've done a ride, if you bring a trim fader down, like after you've gone into trim mode and you bring it down a dB, it'll move the relative automation that's already been written down one whole dB across the track. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll pop my faders into trim, and then I'll loop that section and try to make it feel awesome. And then once I have it feeling pretty good, I'll do what's called coalesce. So I'll coalesce that automation, and it'll write it to the original envelope at that point. Obviously, you don't want things to like feel crazy if it goes to the next section and everything jerks to a different level. So you have to be careful. But I feel like that section's going to need a little bit of different treatment. The thing that jumped out to me on the first listen was the side stick felt like it was kind of poking out. The transient was really harsh and fast, and it was on the left, but with that delay kind of feel thing happening on the right, it felt a little bit diffuse, but the kick was up the center, so it didn't feel like a part of the kit. And then it also felt louder than the vocal to me, which ends up changing because later on in the song, I start feeling like the vocal is a little bit too loud in the song, and it's kind of sticking out a little bit. So I would say like mess with that section, see if you can make that feel really good on its own. It doesn't feel bad, and it doesn't feel far off either. Just a couple little things jumped out to me, like the side stick on there, and then the tone of the vocal feels different than later in the song. So things feel more natural once we get around like 130, and they felt a little bit weird to me at the very first verse there. So hope that much helps. And then at times I was thinking that the snare might be too compressed, and I was thinking of suggesting a slower attack on that or less compression, but then there's other times that the snare feels good. So could be an automation thing. Moving on from that to the guitar solo, basically to wrap up the thought about the snare, I don't know if we got any other good comments in here from other people. Nice. We got some people caught my Archer reference. Yeah, so yeah, good point, Karen. Karen uses a VCA fader if she doesn't have it in her version. So yeah, last thing on the snare thing, it's dealer's choice. Kind of do with that. I hope that it helps. But overall, I think automation might be your friend in this throughout the whole song. The guitar solo felt a little bit muffled and recessed to me. I would say like give it some authority. The only time that it didn't feel muffled and recessed was when he went up high into that 2K range, like some of the stuff started kind of poking out and a little bit loud. So again, like automation's your friends. It could just be a balance thing, like a volume thing, and hopefully like you don't have to automate EQs or anything like that. But sometimes you do. Like sometimes as the range of the instrument completely changes, you need to do things like go in there with an EQ and automate a band to come down just in that section. So yeah, just as I kind of said before on one of the other songs, like if you put yourself into it, put your fingers on the faders if you have them, and do a little bit of a performance there, I think it's going to go a long way. Yeah, that was basically all that I had there. I hope it helps. Sonic Science Lab had some good comments on this too. He was more detailed about what he heard in the vocal at the beginning of it. I felt like it kind of changed as it went throughout the song. So yeah, I hope that it helps. And everybody watching, put some comments in there if you had thoughts for it put them in the chat because they'll see them right up here. Awesome. I'm going to do the obligatory reminder to like and subscribe and all that stuff so that we can keep doing this every week. So I have to do that. It's in my instructions. Okay. Let's go on to the next song. So anybody else who has a song and is here, our draw, for anybody who's just joining, our draw a track button is broken today. So unfortunately I can't be like more even and fair and balanced about all this in a lottery sort of way. But what I decided to do was anybody who's here for the live stream in the chat, if you submitted a mix, let me know in the chat. Yell, put it in all caps, do an Archer, and I'm going to try and hit it. I'm going to get out of here about 4:30 today, and then I'm going to go drink a bottle of NyQuil, and I'm going to sleep for 24 hours. Let's see what else we got. I'm going to scroll up here. Yeah, Flandy, big shout outs to Tomfoolery and Sonic Science. Those guys are always in there, always leaving comments, and they're always good. Okay. Let's see. So we got My Name is Human. We got Lana. Let's see. We did that. We got Carl's in. We got Mike Conway's in. Juan had one. That's right. So Juan has Cruel Summer. So let's go find Cruel Summer. Here we go. And anybody else, if you want to submit one, you probably have time. So I think Cruel Summer is the last one that I saw in the comments. If I'm missing one, put it in all caps, remind me in the chat, and we'll hit it. So we're going to hit Cruel Summer from Juan. Thanks for being here, Juan. Super excited to hear it. Here we go. You look, your profile picture and your name look and sound familiar, so thanks for being here again. All right, here we go.
Hot summer streets and the pavements are burning. Eyes sit around, trying to smile, but the air is so heavy and dry. Strange voices are saying things I can't understand. It's too close for comfort. This heat has got right out of hand. Ooh, it's a cruel, cruel summer, leaving me here on my own. It's a cruel, cruel summer. Now you're gone. Oh.
I hear a synth hidden back there. You're not going to hide from me forever, synth. I heard you.
you're gone. Oh, it's a cruel, cruel summer, leaving me here on my own. It's a cruel, cruel summer. Now you're gone, gone, gone.
Okay, awesome. I love the remake. Like this version of the song is super cool. And I was having a hard time keeping myself from trying to sing the answer vocals, like the it's a cruel. I refrained until that moment right there. Anyway, this is super cool. So let's check out your comments here. So I tried to make the vocals dialogue with the guitars, the bass and drums lead the way, keyboards decorate the landscape. To me, the keyboards were they're like hiding off in the forest, and they're kind of being pansies about it. So I want to hear more of those keyboards because I think they're awesome. However, the decision to kind of recess them goes against like it kind of ties in with like the new arrangement of the song versus like the Ace of Base version from the past too. So I get the reason for that. The tone, the one that I heard when I kind of like called it out, that one. It sounds very like analog synth, not like dressed up 90s, Ace of Base sounding. So that's a thing. I wanted to hear more of that, but it's just a note. Overall, I feel like there's it's not overcompressed in a way that it feels flat because there's still some really good transient punch going on over the whole thing, but it feels loud to me, and I'm hearing a lot of like noise. There's some like natural hiss from the recording, or it's put in by people who are making plugins that love to put hiss into plugins. I don't know where the noise is coming from, but the noise floor feels high to me, which makes me feel like it's a little bit overcompressed. And then some of the things like the tone of the snare drum feels like it's Sonic Science put in here that some things feel boxy. So like that's a good term I would use for the snare, where it feels a little bit boxy. And a lot of times that can happen from compression. It like smacks things down, and the frequency shape of that sound can change. And to me, the 400-ish is kind of sticking out on the snare drum in this one. But it doesn't sound like a bad snare drum either. It was a thought, I don't, man, that feels like it doesn't really help very much as a comment, but yeah, I think like the compression is hurting a little bit of the vocal tone, a little bit of the snare sound that I heard in there, and it feels like everything is kind of loud. So I don't know, maybe this is limited. Something is going on in there that's giving it a low dynamic range feel. Sebastian says, I think the acoustic guitar at the intro almost disappears when the other instruments kick in. So let's just check that out again from the intro. Here we go. Actually, I want to listen to more of this acoustic sound because I'm hearing the overcompression thing here. So that guitar feels very flat to me because of compression. Like the attack is so strong that the initial note of the guitar, like none of those feel like they have if it was a MIDI track, it would be different velocity, but they don't feel like they have different volume between the fingers, and they most certainly would from an acoustic player, no matter how hard they tried to be super consistent with that. I'm hearing the compressor kind of bite down on the guitar here. And you can hear the string kind of going wonky and getting fret buzz, but the volume doesn't come up any. So he's hitting it harder, but we're not hearing it louder. Yeah, I heard the synth is in there now.
and the pavements are burning. I sit around trying to smile, but the air is so heavy and dry.
There's the white noise, or the noise that's happening in the background is pumping with something too, and I don't know if that's a synth or I don't know what's happening there, but I'm hearing like a pumping thing with the drums.
And the pavements are burning. I sit around trying to smile, but the air is so heavy and dry.
So I take back what I said about plugins. That's not from plugins, I don't think.
Strange voices are saying.
I like the sound of the guitar too, 6 of 1. I just feel like there's not quite enough dynamic on there. There's the bot. The bot's here. I got to get the bot out of here. Hold on. It's like my favorite part of the show when the bot shows up and tries to get us all girlfriends. Okay, get out of here. There we go. All right, it's gone. It's gone. Back to the music.
Things I can't understand. It's too close for comfort. This heat has got right out of hand. Ooh, it's a cruel, cruel summer, leaving me here on my own.
Okay, so the top end, the thing that I was thinking was hiss. I think that might be a synth in there, and I'm not hearing it like a synth. So the synths overall, I think, could probably be looked at, because I almost wasn't hearing them at all. I noticed them in a moment, and then now as I'm going through, the noise thing seems to be the top end of a synth or something, but it's pumping with music. Just a note. And then the boxy comment that Sonic Science had, I think, is like just kind of 400 happening in quite a few things, really. But yeah, I wonder about the compression stuff that's going on with it. And I hope that some of this is useful. Step off, bot. Cool vocal delay, yes. 6 of 1. I'd say we got about like 15 minutes or so left. And I haven't seen another track in yet. Oh, wait, Bananarama? Bananarama. Is that something on there? Or she's just making a comment? I'll look for a Bananarama, but I don't think so. Oh, here we go. J. Allen, Perfect Ride. Okay, we'll hit that one. And 6 of 1, if you can, throw one in there. Isn't it the vocal delays that you hear as a synth in the background? I don't think so. I think I'm hearing like a pad thing, and then back here somewhere there was a synth note or a synth part. Yeah, I called it out earlier, but now I don't kind of remember where it was. I don't think it's the vocal delays though, Sebastian. So, all right, cool. Oh, how long does this one have left on Mixtank? This song, so 6 of 1. This has it was submitted 2 hours ago, so I think it has like probably 2 weeks left on there, or at least 7 days. I'm not sure what the expire time is right now. Okay, so let's see. The other one we were gonna hit was. Let's see. Did you go past J. Allen? Perfect Ride. Okay, and unless we get some more submissions, this might be our last one. So, last call. Last call. Get your mix in. All right, here we go. Let's check it out. Oh, wait. I don't see that popping up. Here we go. Got it now. All right, let's check it out.
Ever since you left
I mean, I again like just amazed at the level of talent that happens in these things that we get to listen to, like the different songs that we get to listen to, how good all of them are. Great job. Six of one put in the comments, ambitious production, and totally agree. Very cool production. Um, there's some really great stuff happening here. Great song. I want to listen to just the first part. I'm just going to listen to the first 10 seconds again. Hold on 1 second.
Waited by your window, I realized the sun rain was on my face.
Yeah, just awesome, man. The first thought that I had was I had hit play and then I was like kind of reading the comments and I felt lost in the progression the very first time I listened to it. And I think it's just coming down again to overcompression thing, or how loud this is overall. So um, things feel very compressed to me and very loud and also awesome. But the next thing, the next thought I had, this is important. When it came into the verse and everything, after getting through a couple bars of that, I felt like the balance was great. Like it was really well done, very intentional, and really really well laid out. So kudos. This feels like a really well balanced thing. You have some comments in here that I want to address in your notes. So you say, looking for fresh perspective on this mix before I commit to it. There's a few performance elements on reflection I've decided to retract, but for time and declining objectivity reasons, most of what's here is staying. Any tips on where it's lacking would be helpful. I know I struggled a bit with the mid-range, going from muddy to harsh to muffled, and now I'm not sure what it is after various correction attempts. Who hasn't been there, right? Like that's, I know where you are, and it's like a frustrating place to be. I think the overall sound isn't too bad, but I'm looking for that extra 5 to 10% to do the song justice. So, couple thoughts I had on here. I haven't read the chat room's thoughts yet. I'm just gonna like say what I had, and then I'll review chat room comments here. But there's so much going on in this production. It's really cool. Like all of the parts are awesome. But I think that maybe there aren't enough decisions being made about who's leading when. There's times that, for example, like everything feels like it's pushing up against a brick wall, like a limiter. Where's my ba-dum-tsh? Anyway, it kind of feels like everything's hitting a ceiling, but everything's still trying to be loud enough to be heard. And like they're all trying to be heard all the time. So the next thing I'm going to say, like, this would obviously be a save as, because I think what you have here is cool and it's really well done and everything. So I would do a save as on this, and as a practice exercise, if nothing else, even if you're like, there is no way I'm doing this mix again after how far you come and everything, do a save as, kill any automation that you have going on in the faders, bring everything down, and try to rebalance it. And as you rebalance it, start with the most important, like put the foundation of the song together first, and then start bringing up the wallpaper, like all of the dressing, the little moments that happen from the guitars and the strings happening and all that kind of stuff. But great vocal sound, great rhythm section sound, like get the foundation of it going and then kind of bring everybody else into it. And yeah, from there, just try to do some automation. And like, you wouldn't have to spend very long on this exercise. Like most of your tones are already there and everything. Playing with the volume might make you rethink some of the tonal decisions, but in general, I feel like everything wants to be heard all the time on this, and they're all like pushing into a ceiling that like there's something that's just holding everything down, but everybody keeps trying to be pushed up past it, right? So yeah, I don't think like saying that overcompression is the problem is useful. I think it's just that everybody's trying to be heard, but nobody's saying like, "Hey, I'm going to step back so that you can be heard right now." So that's my initial thought with it all, is that everything is awesome, but it's all trying to be heard all the time. And I think that that's where struggling with the mid range, going from muddy to harsh to muffled, I think that that's probably where some of that is coming from, because as things are trying to get louder and everybody's too loud, then you might even be doing things to like a stereo bus EQ to like tame all that and kind of smooth it over. But it, then it feels muffled and all that. So I don't know if that's where you've gone with it, but I think that some more decision making would help out with this a lot. I think it's a great production. There's so much good stuff happening in there. I just think that a little bit more intention about who's being heard when and making space for other things to come up and in might be useful. I hope that helps. Let's check out everybody else's song. Or everybody else's comments here. So Circle loves the chord changes on the chorus. Yeah, man, the song's written so well. It's great. And the mix is really good too. Like, you have some great stuff happening in here. So really cool. In the choruses, the saturation on the lead vocal seems a bit too obvious. So that's from Sebastian. So maybe we're checking out there. Snare and overhead sound on the bright side. So I'd agree with that. The snare didn't always sound bright to me, but it did at times. And then the overhead, the cymbals would jump out to me and kind of punch me every once in a while. So that could also be a thing of like, everybody's trying to be heard all the time, and now you need to like, you're looking for like space to put the cymbals, so maybe it's really bright. And I don't know that that's what's going on, but it could be. Isomatic says, I really like the song. Me too. It's awesome. Primetime says, I can't hear the bass player clearly. I would agree with that. I didn't think about the bass player at all when I was listening to it. Not that matters, but that's a thought. Cool. I hope that that's useful. Jump fills sync slightly from Primetime Robots. So yeah, that might be a thing to look at. So that's probably a good example of like making moments, right? Like, the drum fill's coming, let's push that up at that moment, but let's not leave the drums up loud, like just more automation stuff. I hope that kind of helps. Cool. All right. Jay Allen, great job. That song is really, really cool. I hope to hear it again. I'm going to put my little comment here, even though I think you're still on the stream with us, but and thank you for tuning in, and thank you for submitting and being a part of Mixtank. And keep an eye out for everybody else's comments too. Like, yeah, I'm sure Sonic Science Lab and Tom Foolery will be around here to comment on it, and they always have great stuff to say. So do check out their comments when they come in. I'm just going to scroll through the chat, see if anybody else was here that submitted something. Let me see. Karen said Bananarama. That might have been a joke about something else, but I'm just going to search and make sure it's not a song in here. It is not. All right, cool. Let's just pick a random one. Thanks, Circle. Appreciate it. Oh, crap. Hold on. My camera's off. Hold on. We're coming back. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Thanks. Got it. Cool. Thanks, Circle. Let's see here. So unless somebody puts a thing in the comments, I'm just going to pick a random one. And Planet of Love. I've seen Trans commented on a few things that we've been through, so I'm going to choose his since he's being so helpful in the community. All right. So he says, this song is called Planet of Love. I am interested in your thoughts. The song is a hybrid of style. Any thoughts on production quality are appreciated, and whatever comes to mind. Thank you. Here we go.
Sunshine, you don't know what I'm bringing on. Ciao. Yeah, man. Ciao. To the
Mic was muted. There we go. At least I caught it before going on for 10 minutes. Awesome. All right, cool. Okay, Primetime says Bananarama is a British girl band that formed in 1980. They definitely sound familiar. I know about Bananarama, but I wasn't sure if it was like a song and all that. All right. So beginning of this, the kick feels a little bit like ticky. So lots of high-end content in it. And as we went into verse 2, I was feeling like if that became a little bit more subdued, it would have given some room, some up and down in this. So that was one thought. The other thought so far is that the spread on the vocal is super cool, and the overcompression of the vocal is cool. I love it. This is a great time to do that, I think. But the spreading of it is making it go out of phase. And if you saw me kind of looking over to my right, I was flipping my monitor controller into mono just to check like what was going on. If I collapsed the image down to mono, if I, fold it all in, does it all cancel out? And I almost completely lose the vocal, and the sound of the track completely changes. So as always, watch out for stereo wideners and everything. They feel great, but they're lying sometimes. And you can get in situations where that'll cause serious translation problems when you're going to a car, or like you're listening to it somewhere else on like a HomePod or a Bluetooth speaker or a soundbar or whatever, or even in headphones. It can just feel weird. So just watch out for some of that. I talked about this on one of the other streams, but sometimes if you're wanting to add that stuff all the time and you always feel the need to be widening, just check out your monitor placement, where it is in the room. Make sure things are symmetrical. Make sure they're on the same plane depth-wise, distance-wise away from you. They're the same distance away from you. There's tons of articles out there, some bad, but a lot good, about monitor placement. We're working on some stuff on Puremix, some content about setting up your monitors right and everything. And I think that Brian Lucy covered it a little bit in one of his mastering videos on the site. But yeah, make sure that your monitors are feeling right in your room. If you're always wanting to do the widening thing, it could be that the monitors are kind of lying to you, but it feels great when you do the widening thing. So to me, it jumped out immediately as like they're out of phase. So I lost the vocal if I sung the mono. That's all I had to say about that. I'm going to try and go back here. The only other thought I've had so far is like as we go into the verse, if like the high end of the kick drum changes and it comes down a little bit, I know that that's changing a little bit from maybe the style, but I'm not going to call it trance, even though that's your name, because it's not trance. But like if the top end of the kick comes down a little bit and things get a little bit like more harsh and darker, when we get to the big chorus and everything goes wide and big again, just getting some difference between the sections to make moments out of them. Here we go.
Ciao. Yeah, man.
Oh, one more comment about the out of phase vocal thing. Last week I talked about Black Skinhead from Kanye West. He does some haze in that song. Like there's vocal ad libs that are 100% out of phase, like 100% out of phase, intentional. And it's interesting because everything else like has this very mono feeling, or very like mono point source, not like wide washed out stereo things. So when he does that, it has this effect of wrapping around your head. And if you sum it to mono, you'll never even hear the ad lib. It's wild, but like that's a good case of like break the rules, because whatever. And if you feel like that on this one too, go for it, just as long as it's intentional. But I feel like that instance of it works in the Kanye thing because everything else is so mono every other moment, that for like a split second he uses an out of phase thing as like a big moment. It's like you can't ignore it. Unless you're listening in mono, then you wouldn't even hear it, and it'd be easy to ignore. But otherwise, like the contrast is what makes that work. So just a thought I wanted to put on there.
I got the power to the bunga, and you know that I bring that love. I'm just playing and concentrating.
Sorry, I just realized that the highness, the tickiness I was referring to about the kick drum is actually coming from the synth. So for what it's worth, there you go.
Yeah, got my finger on the trigger when it comes to push and shove. When it comes to sunshine, you don't know.
Man, I love the top line, like the vocal melody, the phrasing, all of it is just awesome. I'm wondering like if the octave bass thing, if that went away and we just had the kick at moments and it was just the vocal doing what it's already doing, that would be really intense and awesome. But just taking a break from the octave bass thing would be kind of cool, I think. But that's, creative decision, obviously.
Tell me once again how you became a friend of someone stranded on the island.
Yeah, 6 of 1 says that seems like the tick thing works on occasion. I totally think it works like in the full chorusy sections where everything's kind of in. It's on the intro of it and just like making moments of it where it's a little less ticky so that when it happens in the chorus, it's a moment again. That was kind of my thought there. Like here, some of it's filtered off. That's cool.
I got the quantum
Just for a section, though, not for the whole thing.
we connection, and you know that I vibe above. When it comes to sunshine, you don't know what I'm bringing on. Yeah, man. Tell me once again how you became a friend of someone stranded on the island.
That's awesome. I love this track. Very cool. Yeah, that's great. You know what I'd like to see actually? So 6 of 1 in the chat here also has a video on the site. It's a pro member mix fix with Fab DuPont, and his music is awesome. So definitely check him out. And I would like to see a collaboration with Trance here, who Paul Lucky, aka Trance Warrior. I want to see a collab with Adrian from 6 of 1 and Paul Lucky. I think that would be amazing. So I'm calling it out here. You guys make it happen. That'd be amazing. Very cool. Yeah, this is a great song. I really love it. Great job, guys. Oh, Karen. Karen just pulled out that Cruel Summer was by Bananarama, not Ace of Base. So Ace of Base covered Bananarama. Got it. Okay, awesome. Got it. I thought it was Ace of Base. Like that they had written it. I did not know that. Very cool. Okay, let's see. What else? Seems like I think that's what we got. Very cool track indeed. Love the vocal effects from Sebastian for that one. 6 of 1 would also love the collaboration. Paul, I'm gonna make sure that I put my comment on this. I want to see this happen. You should totally connect. I'll let you guys figure out how to find each other, but it should be pretty easy to do. On Puremix there. That would be super cool. Okay. I think that's all we got, unless I'll give it like, another 30 seconds or so to see if anybody else has a track that we haven't talked about yet. Put it in the comments right now and we'll hit it. Otherwise, we're probably going to call it a day here. But man, it's been incredible today. Like all the music's been awesome. Really cool styles. The vocal performance on the track that we just listened to is really special too. That's super cool. Great job. Oh, Karen, of course Ace of Base did a cover. Yeah, yeah. Here, look, we'll find the album art for it. Ace of Base, uh, Cruel Summer. I bet Bananarama is gonna be cooler for you, but yeah, they even named their album Cruel Summer. I can't play it because we'll get shut down, But there it is. Yeah, check it out. Let me know next time after you listen to it how you feel about it compared to Bananarama. Um, okay, I don't see anything in the comments here. Let me just do one more sweep. All right, I think that does it for today, guys. Yeah, I want to just say thank you to everybody for being in here. That's amazing. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe and all that. Let's do what it feels weird to just leave like this. So let's hit Satellite from Danzy 1. Last one. Here we go.
I've been staring at the moon. I've been staring at the moon. Take me higher. Love is like a satellite. I've been staring at the moon. I've been staring at the moon. Take me higher. Love is like a satellite. I've been staring at the moon. I've been staring at the moon. Take me higher. Love is like a satellite. I've been staring at the moon. I've been staring at the moon. Take me higher. Love is like a satellite.
So initial thoughts, the vocal felt a little bit harsh in the beginning of the track. Doesn't as much now, but it does feel like there's like some 400 or 500 mid-range stuff going on in the vocal. It might be, both of those might be fixed. The first one feels like a filtery thing, but over here it might be fixed by bringing some more body up into the vocal. Or if you want it to feel thinner like that, just watch out for the in that mid-range area. But as you deal with that, it could make things sound harsh too. So, it's a balancing act between it all. We talked about some other ways to kind of deal with that stuff on here, but yeah, dynamic EQ can be a trick. Just balancing the vocal out is a better trick because you're not doing the dynamic thing, but soothe is great. Yeah, check it out. And as far as I know, Sonic said in here that he feels like the snare doesn't have enough energy. I like the dead snare sound thing, but if you wanted to add some more snap to it, you could just slow down the attack time on the compressor that's on the snare. And let's keep going. Yeah, you said I'll fix the vocal. I don't know why that happened because it's on the right. I think it's cool on the right. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, and it gives you a lot of playroom too, actually, because since it's on the right, you could try doing some things like a mono delay off to the left once in a while, and the contrast of that would feel really, really awesome, especially if it was like, I don't know, like a mono delay going to a mono reverb happening on the left side opposite of the vocal that's on the right or whatever. I think it's cool. I love it.
I've been staring at the moon.
That's actually a cool example too, where like you hear the sample cut off, but it's cool. It's part of the like the style or whatever.
I've been staring at the moon. I've been staring at the moon. Take me higher.
That's awesome. Very cool, Danzy. Yeah, I think like the only other thing would just be, when you have some of those loop sections, maybe it'd be cool to just add one or two moments. Like at the end there, I was starting to hear those tom hits that would happen every 4 bars, I think, and little stuff like that as the song, kind of goes on. Adding little moments like that. Maybe it's things that only happen one time, but just something that gives us a reason to hear the loop again is super cool. And I know, like, the trance style of music too. Like, not that this is totally trance, but that idea of like getting into a trance is to have a repeating thing. But every once in a while, having something that comes out of nowhere would be pretty cool. And I dug your filter sweep on the vocal at the end too. That's neat. Like, just little moments like that, I think it'd be awesome. But it's all feeling really cool. And yeah, I think that's all I got for this. I really enjoyed it. That's really fun. By YouTube by said lovely song. Um, Sebastian says it's the first time I actually like the autotune on a vocal. You did it. You did it. You want Sebastian over for autotune. That's cool. Um, Oh yeah, yeah. So, 6 of 1 says, "What if you switch sides on one of them? Like, yeah, the vocal going left instead of right for one of them, and all that." But if it was a mistake that caused the vocal to be in the right, it might be something for you to completely build off of. Especially like um, Sebastian says that vocal has been put on satellite right orbit because "Love is like a satellite" was a lyric from it, right? So like, you might have had one of those like really happy accidents where you can make the vocal be a satellite. There's a plugin actually from Waves called Motion. I think it was designed by Michael Brower, but it simulates the effect of like a circle. So like something coming closer to you, panning left to right and going away, and its apex is at the center, but it also is at its, furthest point away from you in the center and does that whole thing. It's awesome. I think there's also something called like cyclotron panner or something from UAD as well, but maybe play with something like that. It might get ridiculous if it did it the whole time, but maybe once in a while it'd be cool. Or limiting the circle to like one little part of the pan field might be neat, moving it around or something. But anyway, that could be a really happy accident that you just stumbled across if it was an accident. Since you said, "I'll fix the vocal," I don't know why that happened. Anyway, Danzy, awesome track. Everybody, this is so fun. Thank you very much for being here. Sorry I'm a little stuffy today, and I had to go behind the Puremix P a little bit. But yeah, great being with you guys today, and I'll see you again tomorrow, actually. We are doing the mixing contest wrap-up with Joe Ciccarelli from Alanis Morissette's Guardian mixing contest. So we'll tune in, figure out who won those prizes from IK Multimedia. Joe's new channel strip plugin, the Sunset Sound reverbs, and the Fame Studio reverbs were all prizes in that. And we're going to have 3 winners. There were over 330 mixes submitted. So a lot to go through. Joe is choosing the top 3 from 10 that actually Tom Foolery whittled down for him. So we'll be talking more about it tomorrow. Joe will be explaining what he heard overall in the mixes that he listened to, and then why he picked the ones that he did for first, second, and third place. Really looking forward to that. And if you guys have questions for Joe Ciccarelli, you can ask them in the Q&A section. You can find that on the site. I'll show you how to get there right now. We'll go Puremix, and we're going to go to features, live events, and then Joe Ciccarelli mixing contest wrap up. If you guys scroll down, there's going to be the Crowdcast link. You can click on ask a question, and you'll be able to ask your question inside of the Crowdcast event for that. So I hope to see you guys again here tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, for our mixing contest wrap up with Joe Ciccarelli. If not, I hope to see you next Monday and every Monday after that at 2:30 p.m. for my Mix Tank Takeover. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Vance Powell series wrap up on Friday as well. So new video on Friday with that wrapping up. All right. That's enough before I tell you everything that's coming. There's a lot of cool stuff too. So thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you next time. Karen, thank you. I'm totally going to get a cool mist humidifier. I'll try it tonight. Thanks. All right, guys. Bye.